So the topic that I want to talk today is about the automation. So automation is the key to digital transformation. So before we start, I'll just spend a minute to talk about the company that I represent. So ManageEngine is the enterprise IT management software division of Zogo Corporation. So the company name is actually called Zogo Corporation, and ManageEngine is one of its division. So the company started in 1996, where we started with the division called WebNMS, where focusing on building the IoT platform, or we focusing on the frameworks using the SNMP APIs for the telecom operators. And in 2000, there was a global meltdown, and that model was not that successful. So we use those SNMP APIs to build the ManageEngine division, where we introduced our NMS software in 2001. And today, ManageEngine caters to the complete IT enterprise management suite of products. And we also started the Zogo, which is completely into the cloud in 2005. So even before the Microsoft adopted their O365, we were in the cloud. So today, Zogo has close to 40 million users across the globe who are using more than 60 plus applications on the cloud. And we represent the ManageEngine, where today ManageEngine has more than 90 plus products, which are covering the entire spectrum of IT infrastructure management. And we are a bootstrap and private and profitable since the inception. And overall, currently we have close to 10,500 employees across the globe. And we have offices across US, Japan, China, Singapore, Europe, and the R&D is located in India. To talk about our customer base, today we have 200,000 companies across 180 countries are using ManageEngine solutions. And we have channel and technology partners across the globe where we do business with them, right? So that's about the company. So let's get back into the topic. So we start always with the question, like, what is an automation, or how do you, say an automation makes some digital transformation, right? So every business, there are a lot of automations that could be relevant to specific businesses, right? So even today, if you take a store, if they have the inventory, everything computerized, the billing is computerized, the tax calculation is computerized, that is an automation, and that brings a digital transformation from normal way of selling to a digital way of selling, right? So likewise, if you see in any organization, right, there are multiple service teams that are just like IT, for example, travel or legal or HR, finance or facilities, right? So here, there are always people on both ends, which means there's an organization which is providing such services to its customer or to its own users. And there is also a data center which facilitates all these kind of services to be given in a much easier fashion. And there are also employees of the organization who helps the customers to get the service appropriate, right? So here, there are different set of automations that we bring on. So for example, we bring on automations on the employee level, we bring on automations on the data center level. So I'll take you into the product to see what kind of automations today that we bring on the table, right? So talking about the automation, it all starts with, let's say we talk about the user automation, right? So it all starts with a basic form building. For example, take a case of user onboarding, right? So here, when I'm trying to get the information, the form has to be dynamically updated so that it can capture all the information about the new user who's going to join the organization. And it also needs to capture what are the resources that has to be provided to the new employee, and what are the other facilities that has to be ready for this employee so that he can be onboarded, right? So once, we get all these things, right, it gets created as a ticket so that you get to know what are the information that the new user needs. And you can also see, what are the different set of tasks that have been associated. So here, the important thing is, here is where we bundle the both IT and the non-IT departments together, right? So if you see, if you want to arrange a transport, that becomes a non-IT. Or if you want to set up a user location, like seating location, that's a non-IT. But again, when you are trying to do something in your Active Directory, like setting up an email account or creating a user in Active Directory, or provisioning an asset, that becomes an IT. So here we are trying to blend both IT and the non-IT services together so that you can perform an easy business service. Now, talking about the automation on the user onboarding, the first thing, it all starts in your Active Directory to create a user, right? Here I can just create a user dynamically from a CSV or a SQL server, or there are multiple applications that I can integrate which can take the input of the user details, or even I can just mention that on a file share so that every 20 minutes I can check if there is a new data has been imported, so that I'll be able to add it, right? So there are a lot of automation that when it comes to user, like create user, or if you want to modify a user attribute, or if you want to reset a password, you can all do it. And then while doing these kind of automation, there always needs to be a controlled way. So I can even implement a business workflow so that I can have a middle layer, like who is a requester who's raising this particular request, and who is the reviewer to review whether this request is it is really required or not. And then there should be an approver who should approve, yes, go ahead and do it. And then there should be a user or a technician to execute these things, right? So you can even bring on your business workflows in order to implement these things. Now, I would have clicked a lot of things, but again, eventually the automation where it plays a bigger role is everything, whatever that I just showed, is all available in a single click of a button from a create user entity. So this is where the automation plays a bigger important role, where I integrate with multiple solutions of my products, like ITSM or the Active Directory solutions, so that it can talk each other and it can provision the automation with easy efforts, right? So one is the user onboarding, and second is the, let's say an asset onboarding. So here I bring on solutions where it can completely manage your endpoints in terms of your Windows or Linux or Mac machines, where once it has been enrolled in this particular endpoint management solution, you can deploy all your policies that are being configured in your office. Like for example, if you want to run some custom scripts, or if you would like to do a custom patching so that you can bring all the machines under compliance, or if you want to secure some USB, or if you want to put some policies over there. So this will help you to facilitate all these, the asset management, where you can get to know what are the inventory of the particular asset, who's been assigned with, what is the hardware, what is the software that has been used. And if you want to put some security policies, or if you want to restrict some power management. For example, if the office hours is from 8 to 5, by 5 everybody leaves the office, and some of them will leave the computer on, and for the desktops it can be turned off. So we can automate a lot of things, and you'll be able to handle the complete endpoint management using these things. Secondly, on a day-to-day operations, normally we get to see a lot of requests for password resets, and collectively, if you see, a company might be spending more money in handling all these L1 kind of requests, where they need to spend more on the L1 technician cost. So what we do is we also automate that using the self-service password, so that as an end user, I don't need to wait for my help desk team to reset my password. I can authenticate myself. There are multiple various authentication, multi-factor authentication that is available within the solution. And once I'm being authenticated that I am the user who's trying to reset my own password, the solution can facilitate that, so that you don't need to wait for a help desk team to get back to you. Instead, a user can reset their password. So all these small automation, if you collectively see, it will reduce your cost effectively, right? So this is all on the end user level, right? From user onboarding, from an asset onboarding, and doing an asset management, or in terms of software deployments, or in terms of inventory, in terms of patch management, everything can be automated. And the good thing about here is everything is being available within our ITSM solution, so that if you want to perform some kind of endpoint management activities, you don't need to go to the endpoint management solution. It can be installed, it can run individually, but we do have out of the box API that we have already integrated, so that as a technician, you can just stay on your ITSM page where you can just navigate on your endpoint management solution, or for that matter, AD management solution. So this becomes a single pane of glass for you to automate a lot of areas, a lot of different departments within an organization, right? So this is on the end user level automation. Now moving on to the data center level automation, right? So in data center, you might be having a lot of network devices, servers, applications, a lot of things that have been running over there, right? So if you're providing a business service, obviously for a business service, there are a lot of infrastructure elements that are responsible to keep it up and running, right? Your network device has to well, your server has to perform well, your applications, your databases, your web server, has to perform well. Even your network configuration plays a bigger role in providing a business service, right? So the automation, what we bring over here is what the product should do in case of a problem. Let's say an application is not responding properly, right? Now, the product can do a proactive monitoring. It can give you the exact root cause, like which layer has a problem, whether it is a network or a server or an application or a database. Now, if it has identified that the database has a problem, it can further drill down and tell you in which section of there is a problem with the database, whether it is on the thread level, or whether it is on the connections level, or whether it is on the login level, or whether it is on the transaction log level, right? So for example, if it is going to be a transaction, now normally where the automation, what we do is, the first thing is, what I'll do is, I know that the SQL has a problem and the SQL is installed on a server. So first thing is, as a technician, I do is I will try to ping the device, right? And this device name will be fetched from the events or the alarms, right? Now, if the ping is successful, that's fine. And if probably, as a next step, I can even try to do a trace out. Now, if the ping is successful, now I can find out what are all the services that are running. So probably I might be able to get the Windows services that are running. Now, let's say I'm very sure the product has given me an input that there is a particular file which is creating some problem. So I have to replace the file or rename the file so that the transaction log can be written. So what I'll do is I'll go to the file monitoring over here, and I can check the size of a specific file, let's say, and then I can get the, I can do the checking, and then I can perform a compress where I can compress a specific file, and then I can even, rename a specific file, right? So these are all the information, these are all the automations what we can perform over here in order to remediate the problem easily, right? So likewise, what are things that we do is, we handle the complete service management in terms of, stopping or restarting a services or getting the active services. Similar way it goes for process, like, to understand what set of process are running, what process is taking more memory, and whether you want to start, stop, or test a process. And similarly, you can also do the FTP operations over here. And there is also file and folder operations with which you can do some automations. And you can also perform some automations on your VM. Like, you can refresh your data store, or you can power on or power off a VM. And you can even create a new instance by executing some scripts, right? And you can also have the alarm management or event management. So an acknowledge the alarm so that no other two people looking at the same alarm. And you can check the device status. You can exit the maintenance, or you can put the device under a maintenance, right? And there are also external actions, like you might having 5 or 6 different actions, like to check file size, or to check on something on the server side, or to check something on the network side. So there will be multiple workflows, right? So you can have all those workflows executed on a sequential order. You can execute your scripts, right? And you can create ticket in our ITSM solution, or you can have some notifications done. And also, if you're going to do some kind of network level changes, you can take a backup of the configuration. You can execute commands, execute templates, all these things. So these are all the set of automations that you can do within your data center appliances, which could be network server or application or even a database. So that, uh, so before even the user gets to know there is a problem that is appearing in their application that they're trying to access or doing some activity, the product can do a monitoring and can tell you whenever there is a problem. And let's say if my problem gives you an input, like whenever there's a service unavailability or whenever there's a performance issue, you always get an alert or an alarm, right? So based on these alert or alarms, these workflows can be triggered, and also it can be triggered on a scheduled basis. So if you're running some preventive maintenance task within your organization, you can also run these kind of automations over here, right? So there are multiple solutions which we bring into this, right? So I'm just skipping these two slides because this is what we have discussed so far. So moving on to the integrations. As I said, ManageEngine has multiple solutions, right? So even today, with 10,500 employees and more than 10 data centers across the globe, we use our very own solutions to run our business. We don't buy solutions outside. So, for example, we have our own IT operations management, which is a proactive monitoring of network server applications, ERPs, middleware, database, and etc. And we have the Desktop Central, which is our endpoint management solution, right? Which handles all the inventory patch, software deployment, OS deployment, mobile device management for all the 10,500 employees across the organization. And we also use the AD self-service, which is a password reset solution for all the people across our organization too, so that we don't reach out to a help desk to reset the password. We do it ourselves, right? And we also have the Password Manager Pro, which is our password management and PAM solution, with which we try to access the critical infrastructure with the help of the solution, right? And the other hand, we have the AD management. So basically, we do the complete Windows management, Active Directory management, the auditing of Active Directories, or even provisioning of O365 and Exchange mailbox management. And we also have the network monitoring solution, the Op Manager. So everything is being integrated within the Service Desk Plus. So any ticket gets created, any alerts that gets created as a ticket, and you close the ticket, the alarm gets cleared, right? And in AD Manager, whatever day-to-day operations that you do in Active Directory, that can be initiated in the Service Desk Plus. And also with Desktop Central, once you install the agent, if you want to take a remote, there has to be some service request. So we integrate these two so that once you close the remote session, we give the pop-up over there for you to close a ticket right over there itself. So it doesn't mean that you have to go back to your complete request list, search the ticket and update it. It happens right over there, right? And similarly, the AD self-service is being integrated seamlessly with our Service Desk Plus, so that if a user is unaware of his password, if it is being logged out, you can have the multi-factor authentication to unlock your account, and you can reset your own passwords. And lastly, we have the advanced analytics. So today, every product over here has their own reporting solution, but the advanced analytics is more of a BI driven. It gives you more insights on what are the areas that you need to focus on your business, what are the areas that has huge customer dissatisfaction, or what are the areas where your resource is not performing well. When I say resource, it could be a device which can create multiple alarms in a more frequent manner, or there could be multiple incident that is being raised. So those kind of different kind of patterns can be recognized over the advanced analytics. So the last slide that I'm going to talk about is the complete solution, what we offer from ManageEngine. So as I said, we have more than 90 plus different solutions. And the good thing about is all these solutions are homegrown. So we have not acquired from any other company, nor we are not selling our company. So it's our very own solution developed from the scratch. So out of the 90 solution, 40 is paid and 50 are free, which will always remain free. And that 40 is being segregated into various function areas like IT service management, identity and access management, unified endpoint management, IT operations management, and IT security, and also the IT advanced IT analytics. So since Zogo being a cloud-based company, there are few solutions which we are taking to the cloud. So there are a couple of solutions which is being hosted in our very own data center, and also we are hosted in the public cloud as well. So this is the complete, portfolio of ManageEngine. You can always reach me on Praveen at ManageEngine, and we also have a booth where our folks are already there to answer any of your questions.